Hey guys, I'm Ryan Carroll with Vinco Fitness Systems. Today, as a part of our warm-up series, I'm going to walk you through our exact pre-class general movement prep warm-up that whether a person's coming in for their first class or their 100th or they're coming in for a 100 or a one-on-one personal training session, we're still going to go through this general movement prep before we do anything else. And it always starts with soft tissue work. So I like to start with my feet, kind of loosen up that plantar fascia. You know, a lot of people have plantar fasciitis issues. So we start there, loosen up the muscles and fascia on the bottom of the feet. From the ground up is an expression for a reason. You know, everything kind of starts with our base of support, and that's our feet. So I want to make sure that that's loose and warm and ready for any of the movements that we're going to be doing, because most likely we're going to be on our feet to do them. I'll only spend about 20 to 30 seconds per foot. I like to use a lacrosse ball or a golf ball to really dig in there, and I can judge for myself how much pressure I can tolerate, and I want to give as much as I can tolerate to really dig in there as much as I can and loosen that up. Helps break up some scar tissue as well with this soft tissue work. So I start with my feet, with the lacrosse ball, and then I move to my foam roller, and I kind of just work my way up that chain from my calves. I'll roll about 5 to 10 passes. Unless it's feeling tight and knotted, then I'll spend a little bit more time. And then I'll move up to my hamstrings. I avoid the back of my knee where there's a lot of blood vessels and nerves that run through, so you can kind of trigger some nasty reactions if you roll that and get aggressive with it. Get my hamstrings really well. I work up to my glutes. And I'm going to do this on both legs. For the purpose of this video, I'm just going to work on the one side for you guys to see it. But I work my glutes as well. And I like crossing my leg over like this for part of it to kind of isolate some of the deeper muscles. And then I'll also let my leg out relax to get the big glute max muscle on top. And then I'll work up into my low back into my mid back, up onto my shoulder blades even. And I like to put my arms in different positions as I do this to expose different muscles and get some muscles stretched and others relaxed. I'll feel my back crack a couple times, almost like a mini chiropractor adjustment there, kind of set some things in place that might have been slightly out. And usually that one feels really good. I then try and get a little bit more specifically up into my shoulders and arms as well. So I'll kind of get this right on the back of my armpit area and up onto my tricep. And I'll rotate my arm, palm up to palm down, to get different parts of my arm as well. And through all of these, just like I did with my feet, I can adjust how much pressure I'm getting by supporting my body weight or letting it all rest on the foam roller. And as you get more and more used to this soft tissue work, you'll be able to take more and more pressure, and you'll need more and more pressure to continue seeing progress and results. Once I've done all my soft tissue work, I'm also going to do my quads as well, the front side of my legs, kind of show you what that looks like. Again, I'm just doing this on one side as we go through this, but make sure you do this on both sides, arms and legs. And I say again, about a minimum of 5 to 10 passes, unless something's feeling knotted, and you'll be able to feel bumps in there if there's more that you need to work on, and then spend a little bit more time on it. But after the soft tissue work, then what I'll recommend people move into is more of the specific accessory and address some weaknesses. So one common example of a weakness that we address at this time is upper back and posture muscles. And one of the things that I have people do to address that issue is working with our medicine ball, our wall ball here, and we'll do sort of the movement of like a Jefferson curl, where we round our back over. We're going to let that weight pull us down, really kind of let it get us into a bad position, quite honestly, and then I'm going to use those posture muscles to bring me back up into my correct posture. And this does a couple of things. One, it's going to help strengthen those muscles. Two, it's going to help warm them up before we do our heavier loaded movements. And three, it's going to kind of teach me what it feels like to be in bad posture, because it's going to more kind of exaggerate it And then I'm going to feel what it's like to be in a good posture again under a little bit of load, so I know the difference of what it feels like, and I can make those adjustments while I'm lifting or just while I'm standing or sitting at the office. So that's just one example, and a good coach, if you're working with a coach already, is going to have specific examples for you to address your individual weaknesses. If you've got a question about an individual weakness, feel free to drop it on our website, and we'll make a video to address those weaknesses too. Once we move on from that specific section, then we're going to go and address a couple areas that we know pretty much everybody needs to warm up and really needs to strengthen as well. So we're going to go and do some band work for that. We've got our long band here. You can get these pretty much anywhere. I'm not too specific about how much resistance you need. Just something that isn't going to stretch with crazy easy, that it's not providing any resistance, but it also needs to be able to give a little bit so that you can get into the positions you need to and get a little bit of tension. So dislocates are one of my favorite exercises, also commonly called pass-throughs, but I'm going to keep my arms locked out straight, and I'm going to bring that band all the way from the front of my hips, up around over my head, and to the back of my hips. And this really helps open up the chest and get a warm up into the shoulder joints before we do any sort of pressing or even like a swing movement like we do with kettlebells. I like to warm up the shoulders before we do any of that. So I like to do these a little bit higher rep counts. 15 to 20 reps is usually a pretty good place to start. And again, as you get more fit and more used to these warm-ups, you'll be able to do that in higher repetitions, and you'll need to do higher repetitions in order to continue seeing results. After the dislocates, I move to pull-aparts, and it starts in a similar position. I've got my arms locked out, I've got a wide grip on the band, and I'm going to literally pull the band apart in the middle until it's stretched to my chest. I'm squeezing my shoulder blades together in my back and pulling the band out to the side. And this is another one I like to do higher repetitions. 15 to 20 is a good place to start. Same band, I'll wrap around a post of some sort, something stable, and do some band rowing. So again, we're working on those upper back muscles, posture muscles, and shoulder stabilizers. In the slight squat, I'm going to make sure my belly is braced here to hold me in good posture. And then I'm just going to work on driving my elbows back and squeezing my shoulder blades together. And I'm going to feel my upper back working primarily. I'm going to get a little bit of arm work in here as well. And I'm also going to feel my abs and my low back have to brace so that it's not pulling me, but rather I'm pulling it towards me. So that's our band row, another one that I like higher reps for. And the last of our shoulder warm-ups in this general movement prep is the straight arm pull down. So I've got this wrapped over a pull-up bar or some sort of a crossbar up high. So that again, I'm going to grab this with straight arms extended. I'm going to keep my shoulder blades in my good posture position, brace my abs and core, and then I'm going to pull my straight arms down to the side of my hips. And what I should really feel working hard here are my lats. Something that a lot of people don't utilize well, but it's the second biggest muscle in your body. So if you're not using your lats, you're really leaving a lot of progress on the table as far as strength. And it's also a big deficit when it comes to just maintaining good posture and positions throughout a normal day. Again, a high rep count is good for this, 15 to 20 to start. Moving on from the shoulders, I like to give a little bit of extra attention to the hips as well. They're used in almost every movement we do to some degree, whether they're stabilizing or a prime area of movement, they're going to be involved. So we want to make sure that that's another area that's strong and well warmed up. I like our hip circle bands for most of our movements for this. This is another item you can pick up pretty much anywhere. It doesn't need to be a really heavy resistance, but you need to be able to feel that the muscles are doing something. It's an activation exercise. I'm going to wear this band on around both legs, just above my knees, like so. And the first thing I like to do with this is just a little bit of walking, and I'll do forward and back as well as lateral walking to activate a lot of my hip muscles. So I'll start out walking backwards here. I keep some space between my knees, so I'm keeping tension on the band. And notice my upper body doesn't move much. Most of the movement, if not all, is coming from a swing of my legs from the hips. And that's so that I utilize these hip muscles the most. And same thing when I'm doing my lateral walking. I don't want to pitch forward, I don't want to lean way back. I just want to maintain good, normal, athletic posture, keeping space between my legs as I take my steps. And I can feel this, even just this little bit of walking, I can feel my glutes firing on right now. Now, also with the band on, I'm going to make my way someplace where I can get my heels elevated so that I've got a little bit of mobility assistance, especially if I've got tight ankles. This is a great warm-up. So keeping the band on, find myself a nice little 1/2 inch, 1 inch lip that I can put just my heels up on, and my toes are down a bit lower, and I'm going to practice a little bit of squatting. Nice full range squats, and I'm pushing my knees out against the band again to create tension with my hips. And this not only warms up that hip joint and the surrounding muscles, but it also kind of teaches me what it should feel like to hold tension here and stabilize while I'm squatting, so that when I'm doing a back squat or a front squat, I kind of have that indicator, that reference point to know, well, that I'm keeping tension where I need to. So I'll do a few with my heels up, and then I'll step back, and I'm going to do a few on flat ground as well. So I kind of give my ankles that chance to warm up a little bit, reduce range of motion as well before I go to flat ground. At that point, we take off the hip circle band. You can get rid of that. And then we're going to move to some single leg work, a single leg RDL. So I'm balancing on one foot, a little bit of bend in that knee, and then I'm just going to let myself kind of tip forward at the hip and come back. So I'm getting a little bit of a hamstring stretch, and I'm using those hip muscles again. And again, just like I mentioned before with the soft tissue work, make sure you do both legs. And somewhere in the 5 to 10 rep range per leg is a good place to start. And again, as you get more fit, more used to this warm-up, you'll probably require a few more reps than that to continue seeing the results. And the last thing that we do as a part of our general movement series is a good morning. And this is another really good one, especially for the hips. Also puts just a little bit of strain on the low back so we can build that up stronger, and also teach us how to hold position under a light load before we go to a heavier load. So we start with body weight, a little bit of bend in the knees. I'm bracing my belly, keep my arms in tight so I can remember to hold my shoulder blades back, and I'm going to hinge at the hips. It's not a squat, and it's not a back movement, but I hinge at the hips, a little bit of stretch on the hamstrings, and then I'm going to squeeze my butt to stand back up. And I'll go through a few reps with body weight, and then I like to add a light external load, like our wall ball again, to finish off our warm-up. So that's our full general movement prep series. We're going to do that before we move into our class warm-up, where we would do more specific exercises based on the workout for that day. As we talked about in previous warm-up videos, whether we're deadlifting or bench pressing, that's going to change how we need to prepare for that workout. So that comes in the specific class warm-up that would follow this. Again, that's it for our general movement prep. If you guys like this information, you like what we're doing, please visit our website, vincotraining.com, and check out our other free videos, free education, free articles that we put out all the time. And if you've got a question that we haven't covered, there's a question section as well, and we'll do a specific video for that. Thanks again.